Hey, what's going on, party people? You know we're back at it again in the studio. Got a whole new look going on, and we got a sister girl with a beautiful, timeless look in the building, Maya.
Hello there.
Hello there.
How are you? Good
I'm
to see
good.
you.
Right, we were talking behind the scenes like we haven't seen each other or been in the studio together since pre-pandemic.
2019.
2019.
Yes.
Good Lord, that's been a minute.
Time has flown by.
It has flown by, but you have not aged. Okay, and we have to talk about that. We got to cover all bases. I need the secret to the youthfulness, the dance moves. You're fresh off of this performance at the BET Awards, which I don't know if y'all planned it this way, but all the buzz and then the song dropping and everything, girl.
Well, I mean, BET, fabulous. So wonderful to be a part of.
Yes.
It was an electric evening.
Was it?
Seeing all of your peers and getting to cheer them on because I was in the audience after I performed. By 106 in Park, BET Awards were celebrating 25 years.
Can you believe? Now that in and of itself is crazy.
And then BET itself turned 45. So, yes, it was awesome. Overdue for me.
Of course.
It's been a minute since I've been able to step outside like that.
Listen, and when you stepped, okay? When you came out like with the cane and the outfit, it was pure real performance. And I hate to be like that, but it was like you still have your performance, but it leveled up other people. And you know what I'm saying? I'm saying that you brought the real with it. And you know you did. Don't even try.
We only had 2 days, so I was so nervous.
You only had 2 days to practice?
2 days to learn everything.
Wait.
Literally.
I know they called you ahead of time.
No, yes. But to get
what?
into rehearsals.
Oh,
we had
okay.
2 days of rehearsals prior to the show. And then 1 day of camera blocking.
Gotcha.
And I had just flown in from Italy.
Oh, so your time,
okay.
were you jet lagged?
I was confused. My body was confused. And I was just very nervous that I wouldn't have enough time because I'm used to rehearsing, right?
Right.
And so I said, look, Maya, we got to get this together. We're about to be on live TV. There's no edit.
And you know how it is with our friends and family watching.
You're right. A pole or a cane and a stick and a microphone. Okay. And heels.
And
Like,
heels.
Look,
But
wait
you
a minute.
bodied it. But that's where the training comes in. So let's walk
Prayer
back.
and a miracle comes in, too. Seriously.
Seriously. Okay, so wait, let's walk it back. You started as a dancer as a young kid. When did the singing part come in? When did you know that you had the gift? We know, you did that as a little one. When did the singing really flourish for you?
The singing was surprisingly always there. It's just something that I kept to myself. It was my secret getaway.
Really?
Yeah, my dad was a singer.
Yeah.
We always had a band over. He still sings and performs to this day. And my grandfather was my first piano teacher alongside my mom.
Wow.
He orchestrates music, sheet music, etc. for every instrument in an orchestra. So my family on both sides are very musical.
Okay.
Great-grandmother, grandmother, great-great-grandmother, all singers. And I would say at the age of 13, I knew that singing had to be in my future, whether a hobby or I was going to join the choir, gospel choir, whatever it was. I enrolled in gospel choir in high school and learned about harmonies, etc. And then I would say by age 13, I started wanting to record my own harmonies. And so I started in my bedroom with a karaoke machine, flipping to cassette tapes.
Come on, break it down.
I
They
was
don't
like-
know. Y'all don't
and
know.
It sounded horrible. So I didn't want to play it for my friends. It was embarrassing because it was low quality.
Gotcha.
And so I asked my parents, I said, I would like to start recording. Didn't know how much that cost. And so my dad had connections with all of his musician friends, and just so happened that Stan, his piano player, had a basement full of equipment and pre-production equipment, and I started recording there by the time I was 14, just cover tunes, etc. And
Did they know that you had a spark too? Did they say, "Oh,
they were
this is
surprised
it"?
because I was a shy kid.
Really? The dancing didn't
Vocally,
bring it out?
No, I was still shy when I was dancing, doing competitions, etc. And I finally caught on and realized that the judges, when you're in competition mode, they just want personality. You can sell it. But I was more of a skill and a technique.
Right.
But it was later on when I came into my young womanhood or teenhood that I finally merged the two together. It takes a minute to understand. But singing was something that was really so special to me and just runs through my veins, musicianship, etc., because of both sides. And so finally, after those rinky-dink little demos in the basement, my parents saved up $1,500.
That's a grip.
That's a grip back then.
Back then.
To get a professional demo produced by a local producer named Rome. And he was so very talented, made the tracks as well as wrote the song and would coach me, etc. And so that was my very first demo at 15.
Wow. So
Professional demo.
Right. So you did that, moving around and everything. Were you locally at the contest and everything?
I
The
was.
pageants, the open mics and all?
I didn't get out too much because I didn't have a driver's license
Right.
just yet.
Yes.
But as soon as I turned 16 on the day of my 16th birthday, I got my license.
Come on. Come on.
Right? And then I started, going to different games and doing home game, national anthems.
Oh, yes.
Obviously, talent shows galore, and certain plays at school. But that was the limitation because I was so busy as a dancer, and I started teaching dance at 14.
Wait, so you were really good then.
I was really busy too.
Clearly. And you maintained the grades too? Okay.
Yeah,
she was triple threat up in here. All right, so you started teaching dance. What kind of dance? Was it tap? Was it ballet? All the above?
So for the babies, it was like beginners ballet, and they were 2 years old to 4 years old. And then you had the 5 to 7s, 8 to like 10. But my tap was for all ages. It was hoofing though, rhythm tap, the kind that Gregory Hines, Savion Glover, Jimmy Slides, Nicholas Brothers, they do. And so that was a passion of mine when I turned 10 years old. And I trained with a lot of the masters when I was 12 and 13. My mom and I came up here to take workshop after workshop after workshop after workshop. Savion Glover's residencies that came
Yes.
to DC, they would gather us up and we would train hardcore. And so that was something that I began teaching in the area of Washington, DC and Maryland. But at 14 at Pizzazz Studio of Dance, right down the street from where I was living at the time in Maryland. And the age groups were, I think, between 5 and then it went all the way up to about 16, 17.
Oh, wow. So you were teaching some folks who were older than you.
Older than me.
You were
in high school.
skilled.
Yeah.
Skilled. Okay, have you run into any of them? You taught me, Miss Maya.
One
such
of
and such
my
and such.
closest friends was a student of mine. She was 9, I was 14. And, we're very tight to this day. She's been a sister figure.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is sweet.
Yeah.
That's so cool. All right, so now fast forward. You had your professional demo. Rome helped you shop it around and everything. When did you get to the label?
So my dad actually shopped my demo around, and he ran into, or probably knew, Hawk Islam, who had an independent label in Washington, D.C. My dad was on the scene. He performed alongside Pure Soul at many different locations. He had a residency at a specific venue, and everyone from Johnny Gill to Tommy Davis and Pure Soul, Stacey Lattisaw would come through and do their solo bits. But my dad was the main act at that venue, and it was called The Classics. So he was very, very connected in the industry locally as well as beyond. And so he met with Hawk Islam, who had University Music Entertainment, an independent label based in Washington, D.C. And at the time, he had the gospel girl group, Pure Soul, already signed to him, Andrew Hill, who was released
Oh, wow.
in 97. They hit the scene in 97. I came a year later. And so that's the Drew Hill Cisco Connect. We were all on the same independent local label. They're from Baltimore. I'm from D.C., Prince George's County, Maryland. And it was just a family affair.
I don't think I knew. I might have known back then, but I don't think I really
Yeah.
knew that it was all connected like that. So you got the deal.
Yeah.
And then-
Independently.
Independently.
And those demos that Hawk funded, after the first demo that my dad presented to him, sparked interest. He came to my house, auditioned me basically
At the house?
right after high school
What,
one
what
day.
did you sing? What did you sing? Can
I
you remember?
sang Monica's Before You Walk Out of My Life a cappella intro, as well as En Vogue, Jackson 5,
Yeah.
Who's Loving You
Yeah.
a cappella. And he just wanted to hear me sing live because he heard the demo. But Hawk invested for me to do some demos back and forth between Maryland and Philly during my first year of college at University of Maryland College Park. The following year, that was 97, I was also simultaneously working at BET.
That's what I was
Teen
about to
Summit.
ask you. Yes, you were doing
Yeah.
Teen Summit stuff. So you have a connection with BET that goes back from just
Way back.
the performances. Yes.
28 years.
That is crazy. How? When I'm only 29, I know I saw you, but
I was like 16, fresh
like
out of high
5.
school.
No, but
17.
what were you doing at BET? You were a part of the posse as a dancer. Were you in the audience at all doing anything?
So I was a posse member, and we worked behind the camera, on camera stuff. We would do word on the street segments and talk about what was going on in our lives as teens, our issues, and what was going on in our communities. And then the dance posse members, they would freestyle during certain segments or transitions, and even get to dance behind artists. My last performance there, I believe, was behind Mobb Deep.
Wow. Come on now.
Oh yeah, and Next. Those were like my last 2 performances.
Before you
a couple
blew
of
up.
weeks before I was actually an artist.
That is so interesting. So did you know,
Introduced.
did people around you know that you had all this bubbling as you're
No.
dancing behind them? You're like, yo, I'm about to be on this
I
set
don't
too.
think I announced anything.
No?
Because you just never know. And then you're also figuring out what the schedule is going to be in real time. And you don't you're not involved in every aspect of planning. So you just kind of keep it under wraps and say, all right.
And then sometimes you got to pop out and show. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just going to say. All right. So
fun.
talk us about that first album. What was that like for you? Because I'm sure it was life changing.
It certainly was.
Yes.
That first album, I was just a young girl.
Yeah.
You know, figuring out herself, life, fresh out of high school, departing from college, and making that decision
Yeah.
to move forward full time with this.
With your
And-
artistry.
Yes. And seizing the moment. I didn't know everything. Obviously, artist development was big prior to my generation and era. So it was a leap of faith, but also stepping into that faith, knowing that, all right, I'm used to rehearsing all the time. I'm used to having it together before I step out, and I don't know anything about this territory. Let's roll with the punches and grow. And, you know, it's very intimidating when you're walking into new spaces, conducting your first interviews.
course.
Like, what is this? Doing drops? I was so nervous and timid during that time because it's new. But I was used to that through the arts,
Right.
being a student at all times. So it was wonderful. It changed my life, my family's life, and I'm just so grateful for the opportunity. Shout out to Hawk, Drew Hill, my brothers that supported me on my very first single.
Do you still keep in touch with them?
Yeah, we perform often together. It's
Really?
so great seeing them and then sharing the stage with Cisco. We just performed actually last month in Pomona for the LA County Fair together. And I used their band. And we can rehearse, you know, Maryland.
And there's a
DC.
synergy that's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people love that.
So was your dad there to help guide you within the industry and help you avoid some of the pitfalls that early new artists
Absolutely.
encounter?
My dad is still heavily involved
Yeah.
in a lot of the creative aspect. He gives me so much advice as a performer because he still does it. Musician recommendations, arrangements, something that I may throw into my show, he'll recommend. Why don't you throw this Isley Brothers classic in there? Right there. That's the pocket. So he's there at rehearsals sometimes.
Have you
And
done
then,
something together?
We've performed before at the Howard Theater, Ribbon in the Sky, one of my favorite songs. And yes, we've actually recorded down in Tampa, Florida recently. I think that was last year or the year before. But my mom also, she's been my accountant since 98,
Wow.
and she keeps my finances in order.
So we know where the money's going. Mom is looking out.
And she's a smart lady because she read all of Donald Passman's legal books. Everything you need to know, want to know about the music
About the industry, yes.
business. And she's a sharp lady that's kept me sharp through the years.
And you are still moving and moving on. I'll be okay. Musically, you were one of the first that I knew that was a huge celebrity to step off and do things independently. You made a conscious decision to kind of step away from what we saw because you were on this huge trajectory with a lot of other of your peers, but you decided, hey, I'm going to go this way. What was the catalyst that caused you to say, I'm going to step out of this mainstream lane and forge my own path?
Well, circumstance, I'm a creator, first of all, and I don't like to wait. I don't like to wait for budgets to open to just go exercise and practice as a musician,
Right.
or write. And so I'd started engineering in 2003, and honestly, that karaoke throwback that
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
was like the first sign of that. My very first advance I spent on equipment, because all I wanted to do was create. So I'm just a bored kid in my bedroom wanting to always create. And sometimes it doesn't work like that in business, because the budget has to open up
Right.
before you can just go in a studio. And so it was more so about empowerment and then exercising creative freedom after an album leak. And then that album getting shelved because it's already in the universe. So that prompted,
And you can't do anything about that? You can't
can't
say,
do
hey, listen, we should still put out a couple of
No,
songs?
you can't do a whole lot, and you can try, but that's more time wasted, and
Right.
it can be exhausting financially and legally, so and energetically. So I just said, okay, well, I'll try this independent thing. I really love what I do. I love performing. I could still work, and people are still asking. Let's see what it's about. And it was just curiosity first, and it went so fast. The demand was there, and I started in a very boutique way, because what leaked was leaked in Japan, my fourth album. And so Japan came knocking on my door immediately and said, let's do an exclusive one territory release, exclusive to here only. We'll give you a deal. You can executive produce your album. We love what you just did, that we received.
Yeah. That we got unintentionally.
The rest of the
we
world
made
doesn't
it, but we
have.
loved it.
We want to do business with you.
Yeah.
And so that was the start of my independent journey. And that was the very first independent project I released a year into the independent scope or path. And the following year, I released another one. It was a mixtape, completely different genre than J-pop and R&B pop. But yeah, it hasn't stopped, because I love making music.
Right.
And I'm growing also in business as all of this is happening in real time, learning so much, the mechanics, and still learning. And it's been fun. It's been fun. I've been able to travel the world in this independent journey.
Yeah, you said you just got back from Italy.
Meet people, develop teams, offer internships, like really, really, really live in it. Yeah, it's very rock star like.
Well, you are a rock star, ma'am. Hello.
To know both sides and to learn both sides, it keeps a lot of things preserved. To creatively be free and live in that childlike space.
So you don't have to worry about anybody saying, no, you can't do this song. We really want you to go and sing more like this.
There are no boxes. There are no more ceilings.
Yeah.
And there are no more opinions. It falls on you. And if they like it, they like it. They don't, they don't.
Right.
Do you like it is the question. And why are you doing it? You really get to the source of why you fell in love with music in the first place and create from that space. And it's so rewarding.
It's rewarding for us as the listener to be able to hear and to continue to see you grow. And I think it's actually given you a leg up on other people, because now the folks who are now, I'm leaving the label, I'm going to do this. You're like, let me show you a couple, 2, 3 things. Have you advised anyone, or have you talked to any of your peers from, that were in the mainstream and saying, hey, here's what I did?
Well, yes, I have. Those are private conversations. But
Right.
yes, they've reached out, and I'm happy about that, because hey, I didn't go through this for nothing. Sharing is caring, for sure. And someone else that I really admired, that word that he gave me stuck with me for a long time, and it still does. And
Who's
now
that?
I understand the preservation he was speaking about for so long. And then also, I was not the only person or artist that he shared this path with. I think those that he saw potential in, or some form of passion and obviously talent, he would pass those gems on to, and that artist was Prince.
Wow.
So those conversations really, really have stuck with me, and now I understand when I didn't before.
How fortunate to be able to interact, to do things around Prince, to know him on that other kind of just artistry level.
Yeah. business, honestly.
Yeah. And of course, he had his own situation going on. So, of course, he
Yeah.
could break down all kinds of
Yeah,
different.
I mean, nobody comes close to Prince. I'm like, "Oh, you're Prince. You can do that. I'm just Maya, and we're just us. But it's really, I would say, a sign of love and protection.
Yeah.
And wisdom.
And that comes from being in the industry and growing and taking those lessons and learning from them. So, what are we learning now? What are we doing musically now? So you have these 2 singles that you have. I love Give It To You. That is my jam. I mean, like, seriously, it's very, I know I saw something saying it was like, roller skate, dance or whatever, but it's really a vibe. I hear the Prince slap on it. I hear Tamara and the Scene. I hear all kinds of little stuff that, don't give the little eyebrow, but no, I hear some things. Talk to me.
This is the grown Maya era, right?
Yes.
I'm doing what I want to do, how I want to do it.
Come on.
And I'm making music from a source of joy, of just honesty, but also the space that inspired me, and also paying homage to all of the legends and the pioneers of this sound, whether it's R&B, soul, funk, pop, whatever it is. Music is a universal language, and it's a feeling. So I'm letting the feeling lead me on this next project, which is my 10th studio project. It's 10th independent project.
Wow.
And overall 15th studio project, including all the EPs and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's homage to those funk legends of the 70s, the 80s, the music that made you feel good and fall in love with music, the experience
Yes.
music. And it's my living room from childhood. And a joyful time at that, when my parents were in love and they had this whole vinyl collection, and I can see it. I was looking at the Epic logo. I was touching and feeling RCA and what that logo looked like. They had I think a dog and what is it called?
Phonograph. What's the
Phonograph.
Yeah.
Yes, all of that. I was fascinated by just the touch and the feel of vinyl. I could feel the carpet on my feet now as I was dancing. Stevie Wonder, Rick James, Shalimar, Cameo, Compunction, it goes deep. Stephanie Mills, man, a great time to be alive. And then, of course, Black music, which drives the energy of this country. And happy Black Music Month, by the way. It's a synergy to that, and it's so special. So that's the place and space I'm in, and you can look forward to that space on this next album. But it's also still contemporary and fresh, with these heavy hitting producers that produce for a lot of hip hop artists, classic legends like Nipsey Hussle and T.I. and Jay-Z, and Jeezy, etc. So the drums are tight and right. So it's merging both worlds together.
Talk to me about Face to Face.
Yes. Face to Face is a very personal record. And I would say, as a single, my very first time showing Maya's spirit and soul in the lyricism, it's a look inward.
Yeah, it is.
For myself, but also for those that have been riding with me and growing up with me. We're grown folks now, and it's introspective. I made that record in a transitional point in my life where I had to start checking myself, and silencing the noise of opinions and the chaos of validation and or definitions of society and what I'm expected to have by a certain time. No, what is it that resonates with you? What's the truth of you? What's your most authentic place and space? Do you know? Well, let's get to know. And so sometimes that requires you to step off.
Yes.
Step out later on. Figuring yourself out is a process, and it could take years, but it's the first step that counts. And so Face to Face is an observation of the world. It's an observation of self. It's also discernment, learning to say no, walk away from a lot of situations, but also letting faith lead in your walk. You're not going to always see. So faith in your walk, not by sight or the things that you can touch and feel. So it's a very spiritual record as well. And I like to call it my spiritual flex because, when you put in the work, it's about to be a problem when you step outside.
Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
And you've been putting in the work. Now, you were saying that this is a spiritual flex for you. What do you do spiritually outside of the music? What do you meditate? Are you in church? Are you a Buddhist? What
All
do you do for
things. everything. So I have a lot of solitude, solitary confinement, isolation often.
Really?
Yeah, I will travel solo often. Obviously, when I'm stationary, I'll use sound frequencies to begin to recalibrate, first of all, my nervous system.
Yeah. Is that like the sound bath thing that they
Sound
do?
baths.
I haven't done it. I've heard about it. I heard it's really
Binaural
intense.
beats.
Yes,
when I'm
binaural, yes.
sleeping, all kinds of things. I do retreats as well where I'll go detox my body physically, spiritually, psycho-spiritual detoxes, mental, emotional. There's a bucket that's needed. And cleanses, fasting. It varies. I get into the word. I was raised Christian, but I wasn't baptized. And I took myself to the altar in 2007 at the beginning of my independent journey. And so I keep, the word with me. And I've read the Bible in 1 year on an app called BIOY, Bible in 1 year. There's all kinds of things. Podcasting, meditation. Sometimes that's silent meditation.
Yes.
Breath work. I mean, you name it. I've done it, and I haven't done all of it. Pilates, yoga, diet, exercise, or just me time, And a lot of all of that combined has certainly paid off because it is stillness. This productivity and stillness I found. Because it's easy to get caught up on that hamster wheel.
I know.
Especially when you're just trying to pay bills, and acquiring stuff in the society that we've been taught to
Absolutely.
acquire things.
You need this. Come get this. It's only on sale. Come get this now. Yeah.
So decluttering, giving some things away, giving up some things that you feel that you may need, and putting yourself to the test. I practice a lot of disciplinary challenges by stripping something away that I really like, or doing something spontaneous like jumping out of a plane to prove to myself that if I can do this, then I can face that.
So you've done the jumping out of the plane?
Oh, yeah. Twice.
Maya.
And it's something I'll continue to do. But it literally recalibrates your brain. I'll do stuff like that for myself because I want to be sharp in this individual sport of life often. But then also, you got people behind you. In face-to-face, I mentioned that I don't walk alone.
Yes.
Even when I'm solo, I don't walk alone. I know that. I feel that. And then you have great people on this earth. You have to remind yourself of that too.
Sometimes we forget about those things. Again, getting caught up in the hustle and bustle, going back to what you were saying.
Or the negative.
That stillness, yes. And it's just a lot. But to your point, being quiet, being still, and just centering helps. I know it helps me. But I can tell just by your energy. You have a very calming presence. I feel like I need to talk like this. But I feel so loud talking to you.
I'm not putting anybody to sleep, I hope.
No, it's calming. It's soothing. It's soothing.
Goodness gracious. Whew, I'm glad that that's the outer presentation.
On the inside, is it all chaos?
Lord.
You are a mess.
Yours. I'm like, get it together, Maya. Get it together.
So after you performed, did you go out and...
I was relieved. I'm like, look, these heels are not healing right now. Woo! Please, Lord, protect me from sliding on the slippery floor so that I can be full out and put on a show. Because, it's so risky. And live gets me so nervous. Taped and edited, you can slice and dice and protect yourself before it airs. But there might just be a 3 or 4 or 5 second delay max when you're going live. But everybody got their phones.
Of course.
Something's going viral. I'm like, whew. I was so relieved. I could relax finally. And celebrate a little.
Yes.
That was over because you just don't know.
But did you? I know you probably don't go into the comments, but I went into the comments and looked at all kinds of stuff, and it was just.
I crashed.
Maya, blah, blah, blah. And it's amazing to me because some folks, who are a little younger, may not know that you get down like you got down, and they're, oh my gosh, and everybody's like, she's been about that, she's been that girl. So
I
it's
do
just
tour a lot,
confirmation.
so I was at least probably calibrated,
Yes.
well oiled, coming from the road. Yeah.
But you did it.
Yeah.
You did it. All right. So now, again, capitalizing off of that momentum, you have the singles. When will you be dropping the album?
Ooh. Yes, 2 singles, Face to Face and Give It to You, are out right now. I hope you all enjoy. The album comes out this year.
And what's it going to be
In
called?
the fall.
Okay.
I will be back for you. I have had the title.
Really?
But that will be a surprise that I will announce exclusively.
Nice. Exclusive. You got to come back and do it.
Yes. Yes. I'm so excited because it's been a minute pre-pandemic since I dropped an actual full body of work. So this is extra special for me, and I do hear all of the feedback. And
What are they saying as far as your feedback is concerned?
just anything and everything. That girl or been that girl. Or, it's your time. But, day ones, the writers, the supporters, we've literally grown up together.
Yeah.
And I truly appreciate social media because you can really tap in and just connect on a personal level, but also kind of test things before you release them. And
Right.
independently, it's an investment. So
That's
I
your own
appreciate
money
you all.
coming out of there.
I appreciate you and all the good feedback and the notes. People are very specific on what they want to hear from you next. When I release Face to Face, hey, it's a very introspective record. A lot of people said, thank you so much for this record is what I need right now. And then I'll pop a question. What vibe you want next? And they'll tell me, well, okay, now that we've gotten very sentimental or spiritual, we want to see you dance. All right, got it. Here we go. Let's go. So let's give it to you.
That's so
And,
cool. Yes, that's cool because you're doing the give and take and you're taking their advice
tapping
as
in.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, and then serving accordingly.
Of course. All right. So musically, you have that. You did some movies and everything too. A holiday movie, getting your acting on. I mean, we've seen you do that, but are you leaning more into that now as well?
Hey, I am all for everything.
Yeah.
Multimedia, multifaceted things. I love when I resonate with a project and it's so aligned. Obviously, the schedule has to align, but I'm all for it. From theater to film to books to radio, whatever it is.
Come on.
I'm open. And it's more so about the timing.
Are you still doing your wine things? I know you were doing
Yeah,
that one
my
time
wine is
before.
still on sale. I have, however, never been to a vineyard in my life. So that is a bucket list.
Maya.
Shame on me. It's something I need to make time for.
Yes. All right, so you have your other ventures, you have your music, you have your acting. What's next for you for fun? Are we jumping out of any windows? I mean, any airplanes?
Windows? No, not so
Any
much.
planes this summer?
Airplanes, maybe. It depends.
Okay.
But I will definitely be on my first official cruise
Nice.
in July. I've never actually been on a cruise ship. I did the girls' cruise show with Kim.
Yes,
Julie,
yes.
But I've never been on a real cruise, so I get to perform on one. And
Okay.
kind of hang out for a minute.
They're going to be lucky.
First timer.
Yes.
For me, I'll be lucky too.
They're going to be like, oh my God, Maya's
Yeah.
here. That's dope. That's super dope. And okay, before you go, I want to ask, you've been talking about it throughout the interview, but I'd like to ask two specific things. One, words of encouragement that you would give to someone who maybe wants to get into the industry or maybe who is
Okay.
pivoting in the industry. Anything that you might want to advise someone
Oh,
that's
wow.
helped you.
Oh, well, there's a whole book on that.
I'll pull one.
Anyone that wants to get into the industry of music or entertainment, well, obviously, there has to be product, right? And brand. So there has to be something to sell when you're getting into the music of, well, the business of music, not just the music aspect. So that's one component. And I think when you're passionate about something, you go make it happen. It has to be of quality. What is going to make you stand out above the rest? Why should anyone take you seriously as an investment? Because they want their return on the dollars and cents that they put up unless you're putting up 100% yourself. You yourself are a constant investment, so make sure you have enough finance, which means live under or within your means. Below your means or within your means, because you will need to always make that investment whether you're signed to a major or not. I think making music from an honest place wins always, because when it's truthful to you, it will certainly speak to someone else and probably a lot of people. And there is a market for you. Know that. But I think tapping into your niche, but also furthermore, greatness, making sure it's great and it's undeniable. And not so much a blender. You want to stand out. figure out what that is. Even if it's a marketing tool, a specific color scheme, that is your niche. It's very important because we have an even more saturated business now in every aspect of entertainment, products, brands, in cosmetics, and in whatever it is, films, channels, stations. Come up with that plan and then put your team in order. You're going to need legal counsel. You know, you need to make sure that you're advised properly to get your copyright, your publishing done, mechanicals, royalties, metadata entered into a system so that all of that stuff is tracked and the payouts can occur, the streams can be equated. You need to think business minded versus just throwing your thing up on YouTube and SoundCloud. So there are a lot of great distribution platforms, DistroKid, etc. But please pour into you, and that doesn't mean just the studio. That means your diet, what you're putting into your body, because you're going to have to work hard, and getting your mind right. You know, take some time to get into you. Don't be in a rush either. Just focus on making it good and making it great with what you have to work with, and then call on people from high schools, college. You have folks out here that are going to help and want to help for free, for cheap, and start building a team. Social media is very powerful, and I could be here all day, but those are the key steps. And then make sure you're having fun at all times. When it stops becoming fun, you're not going to want to work as hard. So make sure you keep that joy in everything you do, because a lot of it is business before you can get to the fun.
That was great. You just gave a whole master class, ma'am.
Not really.
Yes, you did.
So much more.
You broke it all down. Okay,
Some
and
of it.
lastly, give me some a word or something that you kind of live by, a mantra, something that's encouraged you. I know, like, I love a Maya Angelou quote or something like that. Is there a specific quote or something that
Yes.
you get to?
Oh my goodness. And I recently just learned this in my life by going to a village in Gabon. And one of the fundamentals that they abide by in their life, obviously, is to wake up and give gratitude, just simply for life itself. But the real gem that I took away was to just be as you are, nothing else. Not a goal, not an accolade, not a promotion, not a title. Just you. As you are is good enough. Whew. And that is what I live by now.
Just to be.
Just to be.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
And being you and authentically you. There is a whole thing like you go, do, be, but you have to be first. Then you go. Then you can do what your purpose is.
And we're always changing.
My
Exactly. Authentic self at 18 is completely different than it is now.
Yeah.
We change as people. And if you can hold on to the true you, well, how do you even get there? And that's what Face to Face is about for me, that record. But that changed my life and how I think about me, so I can show up into the world as a better me, to fulfill just being me, which is the purpose of everyone's life, to get to the best self, which is to just be, because it's really all the thoughts that infiltrate and corrupt us and have us stressed out, because the action then follows when we start thinking that we're not good enough or we don't belong, and then the fear creeps in. You are. You're here. You exist. That is good enough. Nothing else.
That's it. That's it. Enough said.
Yes.
Maya, you are a gem. Thank you for stopping by. Now, you said before the end of the year, y'all heard her. She said that the album's dropping and that she's going to come back.
Yes,
talk
I
to
am.
us. Will we sing? Can we sing together when you come?
Yes.
Look at Mike off mic. Look, I like to do pretend.
Come on.
I don't sing, but I want to,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Okay.
not at all. It's after midnight. Girl, listen. Come
enough.
on.
And that
I'm
was-
going to have all the words to give it to you memorized by the time you come back, and we'll
Okay.
party and dance together.
Let's do it.
We'll do a 1-2 step.
Yes, we will. We will. We shall.
Come on.
I love it.
Can we chair dance now? Let's chair dance.
Skate in
Hey,
the chair.
hey, hey,
come on.
come on.
It's summertime, y'all. Hey, hey, hey. Ooh, ooh, ah. Ah.
See, look, she already went through the movements. And 1 and 2. Love it. Thank you for stopping by.
I appreciate you.